No one says the folks in Compton live on Easy Street. It's one of the poorest places in LA County. They've even talked about bankruptcy. But it may also be a place for easy money. Lucrative contracts, unpaid loans, money for meetings that last just minutes. It's all part of our 3-month investigation into Compton City Hall.
You're getting $7,800 a year,
okay.
And the city is 10 square miles. So how much time do you spend on those commissions?
What happened? Was his loan forgiven? After reviewing hundreds of Compton City Council meetings and minutes going back to 2009, we had a lot of questions, and it was difficult to get answers, as you'll soon see.
I'm trying to figure out how much money the city council members make. How much do they get for a meeting? Do you know that? The budget says $77,996. I think it's for the council members. Are you saying that's for the mayors?
We eventually determined that each city council member makes $55,000 for that part-time position. We also learned that most of the money, 73%, comes from sitting on commissions that may meet as little as 3 minutes. Take January 8th, 2013. Just before the regular city council meeting, the 4 commissions convened. The Housing Commission, Public Finance, Gaming Commission, and Urban Community Development Commission, or UCDC. At 5:25, the Housing Commission starts. 5:34, it's Public Finance. 5:46, Gaming Commission. And at 5:51, the Urban Community Development Commission starts. Our research shows in 2012, the city council members earned $39,000 each for serving on 4 commissions, which met for a total of 26 hours. That shakes out to $1,500 per hour. They even got paid in August, even though there aren't any meetings held that month. None of this surprises Compton resident Joyce Kelly.
How long do these meetings take? I'm assuming that you go to them.
I go to them. They're all the same time.
How long do they take usually?
Between 3 and 10 minutes. No longer than 10 minutes.
Joyce has missed just 4 city council meetings in 9 years.
Do they do anything?
Well, they listen to the audience comments, and then they may comment on that.
And then they decide something? It's just
there's nothing to decide.
And when they aren't at meetings, they may be doing lots of driving, since the council gets a pricey car allowance.
We also found that the city council members get a $7,800 a year car allowance, as does the city attorney, the city clerk, the city treasurer, which is the equivalent to driving about 1,000 miles a month for the city. What do you think?
This is only about 10.5 miles in the city of Compton. I don't know why anyone needs a car working for the city to drive.
I think these auto allowances are just so out of date. This is a city of 10 square miles. How far can they go at $600 a month?
Bob Stern is the former president of the Center for Governmental Studies. We asked him about the city council payouts.
They shouldn't be hiding behind commissions that only meet for a minute or two. They should just say, look, we want to get paid $55,000 or so.
We went to Compton City Hall last week to ask council members about their time and money.
People are making 73% of their salary sitting on commissions. Why is that when the city is in such a financial situation and other local cities don't do that?
The majority of the council, when I first got elected, one of my goals was to get rid of those boards and commission, but I didn't have the political support.
Oh, it's a lot of money to be sitting there.
Well, but all of the time is not sitting up here. You know, you have to be prepared to deal with the issues that come before you.
What commissions are you on?
All of them.
Do you have a favorite?
A favorite? No.
Well, what's one of them?
I'm just serving on the ones that's on the books. So that's it was CRA, it was public finance. You caught me by off guard.
Does the city council meet in August?
No.
And yet our producer found that you were being paid in August.
Probably so.
Why so?
Tradition.
So your car allowance, you're getting $7,800 a year.
Okay.
And the city is 10 square miles. So do you really need all of that?
Well, we don't just stay in the city. We have to go to the county, and You know, I don't just stay in the city.
We wondered if city council members had spent time reviewing some of the 6- and 7-figure contracts we discovered. Take this one. Since 2006, Mark Woods Consultants has been paid big money to record and broadcast the city council meetings and film some community events. He gets up to $5,000 a week. In comparison, nearby Huntington Park pays only $20,000 a year for the same services.
I'll bet a lot of people would love to have that contract, even at $5,000 a month or $5,000 a year. If they put it out to bid, I'm sure they could get a much, much lower bid on it.
Nope. The Mark Woods 2010 bid was the highest, and still he got the contract. And just last night, that Mark Woods contract was extended. We also noticed that money meant in part to build this senior center was redirected to pay for a feasibility study about bringing back the Compton Police Department. Nearly $2 million was spent on the study, including $1.3 million for purchase of police radios for a police department that doesn't even exist.
I don't really know why the radios were purchased anyway. That's the last thing that you would need to purchase if you're going to start a police department.
4 years later, the senior center is finally being built with the money that was left over.
The promise to the taxpayers was to build this senior center. But do you know how many seniors have died since this was supposed to be completed or since this started? And it's unreal.
But what really puzzled us was this small note in a 100-page financial document. It appears to say developer Danny Bakewell owed Compton $3.1 million, but that debt was forgiven, and the city expected to receive just $327,000. What happened? It was all part of a mutual release of claims and settlement agreement between Compton and Bakewell. Bakewell is prominent in the African-American civil rights community, and over the years he's also received millions of dollars in contracts and loans from Compton for redevelopment projects. He's also a major contributor to Compton City Council members, having given thousands of dollars to their campaign. As for that agreement dealing with Bakewell's debts, we tried for 2 months to get it.
Can you tell me what the name of the document is that I would look for? The city clerk says somebody else has it, and you say the city clerk has it. I'm just trying to understand, did he ever pay that loan back? But where do I get these documents? That's the whole thing. It's so hard.
This contract was for $3 million, so this is something that should be at the top of the radar for everybody. The contract should be available. People should understand what's going on here.
Oh, wait a second. This is getting confusing.
At one point, we were told by a city employee the contract was lost.
Maybe they can't find the records, but somebody was involved with it. City attorney, city treasurer, city council. Somebody should be able to tell you what this is all about.
We tried last week at City Hall.
But I'm trying to find out whether this loan was forgiven or not.
I cannot tell you the details of the loan.
So we've been trying to get somebody to explain this to us. Can you explain it?
I would have to refer you to the city attorney.
We also tried the head of the redevelopment agency, Dr. Kofi Biache. It was his agency that agreed to the plan.
Why don't you read what is there and then draw a conclusion from it? Because if it's there, then you should be able to read it.
Next, the city clerk, Alita Godwin.
What is going on in Compton? I don't understand it.
Well, as it relates to this is not in my field as the clerk. So anything that relates to this, you'd probably have to get an answer from the city manager.
Well, this is a pretty big deal.
And we did. Harold Duffy is city manager, and after our appearance at City Hall, he provided the document. This is the settlement agreement from 2006. In it, Compton says Bakewell's company owed the city money, citing outstanding balances on the initial purchase price of a land deal and on a separate development loan. It also says Bakewell used the development loan money to pay back real estate taxes and for renovations. The city made concessions. It agreed to wipe away the liens and clean up the titles on Bakewell properties. It also agreed to environmental cleanup demands. And in exchange, Bakewell agreed to pay $3.5 million to settle his debts over 35 years. City manager Harold Duffy said he didn't even know about the deal until we brought it up. He told us Bakewell hasn't made any payments on the $3.5 million debt since it was done 7 years ago. Danny Bakewell wasn't available for comment, but his attorney, the man who wrote this agreement, says Bakewell hasn't paid back the $3.5 million because the city of Compton hasn't completed the paperwork to close the deal. He says he hasn't even heard from Compton.
The overall question is who's watching? Who is paying attention to what's going on here? With newspapers being cut back and TV stations not that interested, the officials think they can get away with it.
Well, maybe, but there's an election in Compton in 2 weeks with several seats up for grabs. Three-term Mayor Eric Paradin hopes he'll get re-elected based on his motto of the city birthing a new Compton. But that slogan may be falling flat, at least for this resident.
This is the new birth that they was talking about. Oh man, we need an abortion right now.
Well, Danny Bakewell's attorney, Rick Ivey, who wrote that deal with the city attorney who's still at Compton, says that Bakewell has done everything he was supposed to do, including depositing $250,000 in escrow while the city tackled its agreed-to tasks. He says as soon as that's done, the deal will go forward. By the way, Compton is now being audited by the California State Controller John Chun. The state wants to know what happened to all of that money distributed by the state's now defunct redevelopment agency. Compton is one of 400 communities being audited. Val?
Wow, great report, Laurel. Basic question, how do the Compton City Council salaries compare to other cities?
Well, I knew you were asking that, so I looked it up. In nearby Huntington Park, council members make less than $15,000 a year, and they have no telephone allowance, they have no car allowance. And ditto over in Maywood, which is about a quarter the size of Compton. The politicians there make about $6,700 a year. And in affluent Huntington Beach, the council members earn about $16,000 a year. The mayor earns $20,000 a year. And in this affluent city, when they ran out of money, they decided to cut the budget. And so from now on, new council members don't get health benefits.
Wow. And the Bakewell loan, is there any evidence that there are other loans like that that are unpaid?
Well, how would we know that?
Good question.
Because the only way we found out about this loan, our producer Karen Pichet was going through hundreds, probably thousands of documents, and she noticed that there was a little note in all of these documents that it referred to this loan. And that's how we found out about it. We kept pulling the threads, right, and trying to get answers. And it turns out, of course, that the city attorney was there for this loan, but it was very difficult to get any information. She also requested documents on other loans, and nothing's come forward.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
Laurel, thank you so very much.